And that is the thin line, that is the critical step before which the fast has to be broken. Because beyond that is not fasting anymore. Beyond that is starving. Hi, this is Marina from Health Gloves, a certified raw vegan diet and healthy lifestyle coach. In my previous video, you had an opportunity to learn about the oldest, the most natural, and the most powerful self-healing process of the body that is used instinctively by all animal species in nature when they are injured or poisoned. I highly recommend you to watch that video of mine. I'm leaving the link for the same in the description of this video as well as in the first comment of this video, so that you would learn all the details on this very topic that will help you even more to understand this particular video. In a nutshell, the oldest, the most natural, and the most powerful self-healing process of the body that is instinctively used by all animal species in nature when they are injured or poisoned is water fasting. Water fasting in the state of absolute rest. Many of you have left kind comments under that video of mine in which you told me that you appreciated my explanation because it helped you to understand what is the process of healing that is going on in a body during a water fast in the state of absolute rest. And I am very grateful for all of your comments, and even more so for your readiness to open-mindedly listen to my explanation and to understand it. However, not all comments were so kind. One of those comments said, "The only difference between your supervised water fast and starving people in prisoner camps is that people even pay you to starve them." I understand where this comment is coming from. This comment is coming from the state of ignorance and not understanding this miraculous process of healing, a supervised water fast in the state of complete rest. Do not worry, because in today's video, you will learn what is the grand difference between a supervised water fast in the state of complete rest and starving people in prisoner camps. But before we move on to this explanation, I believe that it would very much be useful to you to hear my insight into this comment. When I first read this comment, I felt hurt because I know how honestly my team and I invest love and effort so that each and every client of ours would get ideal conditions for resting, comfortable accommodation, all cleaning services of their accommodation as well as laundry services so that they don't have to do anything, just resting during their 3 or 4 weeks of water fasting. They get emotional support, daily education about fasting, about diet, about healthy lifestyle so that they would know how to proceed on after they break their fasts with their dietary and lifestyle choices in order to keep all the results that they gain through their fast and to keep their superior health long term. They know they are safe and thus their mind can be carefree because professional and experienced staff is looking after them and making sure that they are safe. They get clean water throughout their fast and they get proper refeeding process after they break their fast, as well as introduction of physical activity after they break their fast. I hope that it is clear of how different all these comfortable conditions are than some stressful conditions in a prisoner camp, where people are taken by force. They are forced to do hard work, they are deprived of food and water, they are tortured, and they are under the most outrageous stress that you can imagine. Water fasting is not just not eating. Water fasting, when done properly, is all about getting your body into a deep state of resting. When I first felt these uncomfortable emotions, when I first read this comment, after that I came to a shocking realization. In order for you to understand the grandness of that shocking realization that I had, it is important to understand my background, how I got into this whole story of water fasting. So in 2012, I was honored to be the translator of the book, The 80-10-10 Diet, from English to Serbian, to my mother tongue of Serbian, because I am also a translator by trade. That whole translation was a huge education for me about a raw vegan diet. And I got so fascinated by everything that I learned from translating that book, solely translating that book, that I started studying raw vegan diet, which was my introduction into the whole philosophy of this beautiful science of health, which is called natural hygiene, as well as water fasting. The next year, in January and February 2013, I spent in Costa Rica interning at one of the retreats of the author of the book, The 80-10-10 Diet. By the way, if you still haven't read the book, The 80-10-10 Diet by Dr. Douglas Graham, I highly recommend you to do so, and I am leaving the link to order this book in the description of this video. I spent January and February 2013 at one of the retreats in Costa Rica that was run by the author of this book, Dr. Douglas Graham, interning there. It happened that that very retreat was his water fasting retreat. As an intern, I was learning about water fasting, raw vegan diet, and healthy lifestyle, and I was also one of the interns who was measuring vital signs of all the fasters who were fasting at that retreat. I got so fascinated to see the miraculous healing processes that happened on everyone who fasted there between 3 and 4 weeks, depending on each client's diagnosis and the results that they wanted to achieve, that I continued to learn about natural hygiene and water fasting and raw vegan diet. In 2022, I did my 3-week supervised water fast as well. After that supervised water fast that I had in 2022, many of my followers asked me to start organizing a supervised water fast in my home country of Serbia. First, I said no to all those suggestions because I don't feel that I'm competent to be a supervisor of someone's fast, at least not yet. But then I got an idea to start collaborating with people who are far more educated on this topic than me and far more experienced. And today, I have this pleasure and honor to collaborate with Dr. Douglas Graham, who has been fasting his clients since 1981. Dr. Douglas Graham is very much knowledgeable about water fasting and very much experienced on this topic. Today, I have all this education as well as professional and personal experience in water fasting. However, if I hadn't had all this education as well as professional and personal experience in water fasting, that would be before 2012. And if it happened before 2012, that I came across a video in which somebody is telling me that people are going to this therapy where they don't eat for a prolonged period of time, 3 to 4 weeks, in order to get better, I would ridicule that video. I would also leave a harsh comment under that video ridiculing the process that I did not know anything about. And please hear me out when I say this. Stay away from people who don't know and they don't know that they don't know. When people are in the state of not knowing, in the state of ignorance, most often they are not even aware that they don't know. And when people do not understand some process, a therapy, if you will, they are usually afraid of that process. And being afraid results in defensive and most often arrogant and aggressive behavior because they just want to stay safe. So that is why I understand this comment. And I don't feel hurt anymore. I feel empathy towards the person who wrote this comment because I understand that this person is in the state of ignorance and doesn't even realize that. With all this being said, my message for you is the following: education is golden. And with this being said, let's get on to the explanation of today's video. So, in this explanation, you will learn what is the grand difference between a supervised water fast when done properly in ideal conditions for resting, and on the other hand, starving people in stressful situations. Supervised water fast in ideal conditions for resting is opportunity for the body to go into a deep, sleepy, resting state for a prolonged period of time. It is a completely natural process. Just think about it. If we lived in ideal world where everyone was eating their optimal diet, the optimal diet for the anatomy and physiology of the human digestive system is a diet of raw, fresh fruits and vegetables. With that kind of a diet, people would introduce into their system only the minimal amount of toxins that are naturally found in raw, fresh fruits and vegetables. It would be just minimal amount of toxins. And people would be exposed to minimal amount of toxins that are naturally found in our natural environment. And people would also be exposed to the minimal amount of toxins that are byproducts of metabolic activities that are going on in our bodies daily. With that minimal amount of toxins that would end up in our bodies, a night of deep sleep would be sufficient for the body to clean that minimal amount of toxins and keep us clean and healthy day after day. Unfortunately, in today's world, most people do not get that night of deep sleep every night. Most people don't get a chance to go into a deep state of sleep for years, maybe even decades. And they live in a chronic state of being tired, which sabotages the ability of their bodies to cleanse itself, to heal itself. To make the matters worse, most people today have layers and layers of body fat inside of their bodies. Fatty tissue is made of, as the name suggests, fatty cells. Fatty cells are the places where toxins are stored. So when the body gets a chance to go into a prolonged state of resting, the body starts immediately to consume that body fat, those fatty tissues, starts decomposing those fatty cells. And with that activity of decomposing those fatty cells, the body releases toxins into the bloodstream. This is why unpleasant symptoms come up during the fast before they are either filtered through the kidneys out of the body or destroyed in the liver or lymphatic system. So anyway, the body clears itself of all those fatty cells and thus cleans itself from the toxins. But in order for this to happen, the body has to go into a deep state of rest for a prolonged time. As the body goes into a deeper and deeper state of resting for a prolonged time, the fasting becomes more effective because the body gets a chance to get rid of all of those layers of body fat and thus clean itself of the toxins. And that's the whole point of the fast. When the body doesn't get food from the external environment through the digestive system, the body continues to quote-unquote eat. That is, the body has to continue to produce fuel. And please pay attention of how I'm choosing the words very carefully. I'm not saying energy, I'm saying fuel. Because technically, the body is always first making fuel either from food or from body fat, and then that fuel is in the bloodstream, either called glucose or ketones, depending on the state of the body. And then that fuel ends up in the cells, in mitochondria of the cells. What happens there is that fuel is burned into these burning mitochondria, which are like fireplaces for the fuel. And then that fuel is burned into ATP, which is the energy of the body. So the body is always consuming some material to make the fuel. Which material would that be during the water fast? It would be body fat, fatty tissues. But when the fatty tissues are gone, the body goes into consuming muscles and bodily structures. And that is the thin line, that is the critical step before which the fast has to be broken. Because beyond that is not fasting anymore, beyond that is starving. And this would be the grand difference between fasting when it is done properly, when the fasters are safe, and starvation mode when the body goes beyond fasting into consuming its muscles and consuming all the bodily structures that the life itself depends on. It is interesting to notice that even in the starvation phase, God forbidden, the body will always keep clear of vital organs. Vital organs will always stay intact. However, the body will start to consume its own muscles and bodily structures that support the work of the vital organs. That is the starvation phase, which always ends up in irreversible and very damaging results. And it can be fatal. So it is very important to know when and how to break the fast. This is why it is crucial for people who are fasting to have a supervisor who is experienced, knowledgeable about water fasting, so that that supervisor can keep all its clients safe. And that supervisor knows exactly when is the right point of time to break the fast for each client. And this time is different for each client depending on several factors. This is how all the clients are kept safe. Also, it is so important to know for each client how much water to drink during the fast. Not too much, not too little, just the right amount so that the body can use all that water to detoxify itself. I hope that now with this explanation, you understand clearly what is the grand difference between these two completely different states of the body. If you have any other questions regarding this topic, please leave your questions in the comment section below this video, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions and offer further explanation and clarification on this topic. If you would like to give yourself the ideal conditions for your supervised water fast, I warmly invite you to fill out the registration form for our upcoming supervised water fast. Our supervisor, Dr. Douglas Cram, will look into your registration form and he will let you know honestly whether supervised water fast would be the right process for you at this point. He will let you know based on his current experience whether a supervised water fast would be first and foremost a safe procedure for your current state of health, and second of all, would it be effective? In other words, would you get the results that you want from a supervised water fast, or perhaps some other therapy would be a better choice for you. Filling out the registration form for our upcoming supervised water fast is completely free. If you happen to be approved for our supervised water fast, please know that you are more than welcome, and we would be more than happy to welcome you, host you, and provide the ideal conditions for your prolonged self-healing process. If this video means something to you, please give it a thumbs up, share it with anyone whom you think might benefit from all this information provided in this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel Health Gloves so that you would get to watch all the upcoming videos on my YouTube channel in which you will learn how to eat a raw vegan diet and how to eat in accordance to your health. And once again, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that this video was beneficial to you. Until the next time, I'm sending you my warm regards, and as always, keep glowing, my friends. Bye bye. Check out all the details about our upcoming supervised water fast through the link in the description of this video.